gotten into here. I mean, look, they hire this top Democrat crisis manager to, quote, take over statements for the family in Seth Rich's death. We have other folks, friends of D.C.-linked lawyer that was suing over it being stolen from Bernie. Sean Lucas freaked out by his death. We've got a bunch of other deaths going on. I mean, this smells.
Yeah, you have Alex, the deaths of Seth Rich, John Ash, and Sean Lucas in short order, all of them connected to the heist of the Democratic national nomination by Hillary with the inside mole assistance of Debbie Wasserman Schultz. So, and when you raise this publicly, these are 3 deaths, you're immediately smeared as a conspiracy theorist. Well, if it were 1 death, perhaps you'd say, all right, a coincidence. 3 deaths? Really? I don't think it's unreasonable to scratch your head and say, why are 3 insiders with intimate knowledge of the machinations at the DNC that stole this nomination for Hillary now pushing up daisies? That's entirely...
I'll tell you this, Assange has got giant eggs, because if you look at this, he knows it's hurting Hillary. She's degenerating under the stress daily. Whatever's in these emails has got her scared to death. You can see it. She looks like a cornered, hairless rat. They're totally freaking out, and Assange is just pushing and playing chicken with these folks. That was August 13th of 2016, about a month after the DNC. And, of course, Seth Rich had been executed. And now here we are a year later, or close to it, and you notice that it's all coming out. If you just joined us, we have a former NYPD detective as a private investigator hired by the family, saying he's talked to the police and others and the FBI. They've been told stand down at the local D.C. Police Department, and the word is on that laptop is Seth Rich in communication with Julian Assange. He was not robbed. He was executed, shot repeatedly in the back. Now, 30 minutes after that broke on local D.C. news, I got to hand it to them. They had a lot of courage. The spin machine went into high gear, and we're told then that Trump didn't just help plant listening devices with the Russians in the Oval Office. He didn't just, cause the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917 in a time machine. He didn't just not let any press in, which wasn't true either. No, ladies and gentlemen, none of that happened. But they don't care. The Washington Post comes out. They cheer their big lie. They cheer this record traffic they're reportedly getting. That's in the news. In their newsroom. Yay! We lied about him. We don't care. And it turns out Trump was talking about the raids that the Navy SEALs and others carried out that got them intel from the laptops that they were planning to put bombs on them. That they were planning ISIS and Al-Qaeda to use laptops as bombs. And it turns out that's been all over the news for a very, very, very long time. So think about that. It's been on the news since April and March of this year. But they come out and say Trump revealed highly classified information to a Russian foreign minister and ambassador. And then the media is now debating whether it's real or not, when there's no debating that Trump talked to them about, hey, did you see the intel we got about, the laptop bombs? That helps Russia as well, doesn't it? Because Trump was proud of it back at the time. You want people to know about the new threat so something can be done about it. The president can declassify whatever he wants, but it was declassified back after it happened, talking about the Navy SEAL losing his life to get the valuable intel. This is incredible that they would lie so obviously, so ridiculously. There's NBC News. I guess they're traitors too. ISIS could plant bombs in planes, driving new rules, officials. And that, again, ladies and gentlemen, the date on that is April and March, both of those. You can go through and check that, hidden in laptop batteries. And, of course, that was the January 29th raid, and it came out in April. NBC News, ABC News, CBS News. That was in March, that particular article. I mean, this is a fact, Roger. The very same reporters at the New York Times and Washington Post that reported on the laptop bombs, I have it right here out of the Washington Post, are the same ones now attacking Trump. It's like the same ones that said Trump was wiretapped, then come out and say they never said it and Trump's crazy on CNN. This is insane. It's like saying you're not Roger Stone or I'm not Alex Jones in front of God and country. We're obviously liars if we said that, but we're not liars.
Now, let me make a couple points here. First of all, the whole Trump sells out the country narrative is an outright lie. This is a hit piece by an opposition rag but it's not a blunder. And when the rest of the media picks it up, that makes it propaganda because they are like the birds jumping off the telephone wire. There's no equivalency between sharing information and divulging secrets. In fact, if anyone checks the law, there's no such thing as a classified information when it comes to the president. He has the absolute right to divulge anything. Obama did it routinely. So you can see that this is a manufactured story.
It's a hysteria.
It is. And frankly, the Russians are doing a better job at beating ISIS than we are. And if this helps defeat ISIS, where is the detriment to the United States? Where's the harm to the United States? How ironic that the Washington Post, the story that blew the cover-up on the 1972 election, is helping extend the cover-up into the truth about the 2016 election, i.e., using this story to block the news of the new revelations regarding the murder of Seth Rich.
And it's true. As bad as the New York Times is, they have some real journalists there. The Washington Post is leading the way in pure deception, and they were even quoted in articles of last week at the National Press Dinner, White House Press Dinner that President Trump wasn't at, saying, we have a duty to bring him down. We're going to bring him down. And then they all decide to lie. There's even been articles in the news, one was in the New York Times, saying it's time to go ahead and just lie because it's the right thing to do. I don't get it. This is, let me ask you this, Roger. Where does this go next? How does this tie into the FBI director? How does this tie into the future of this country? Because these are such crazed people where they just use anonymous sources that then put out patent disinfo that the second I heard he divulged the Yemen raid about ISIS plans to use laptops for bombs, to put bombs inside laptops, I instantly knew the whole story, instantly knew it was a lie, and which that shows they knew it's all a lie, and they think we're that stupid. What planet, what Alice in Wonderland, as you said, rabbit hole did I just fall down and break my ass?
Look, we know that the Obama plants in the various intelligence agencies are withholding critical information from the president. It's not because he lacks the clearance or isn't entitled to it. It's because they are treasonous vipers who are looking for the most opportune moment to strike. The FBI director now becomes crucial for several reasons. One, the FBI must lead the investigation into the murder of Seth Rich. The president has that authority. Secondarily, the FBI needs to find the leakers of this information. Who in the NSA? Which Obama holdover?
And let's be clear, they use the national security to put out lies. Because it's not even real leaks, it's false leaks.
The most troubling thing that I have seen is the list of would-be FBI directors. To a man and woman, they are establishment insiders.
And I'm told the president doesn't like this list.
No, I have my sources tell me that the president likes the idea of former New York Police Commissioner Ray Kelly, someone that he knows personally. The president doesn't know or have confidence in any.
Why did Gowdy say that he's not the right man for the job?
That was disappointing because
I think it means he can't help but just totally go after the Democrats.
Well, frankly, we need Gowdy in the faux Russian collusion dust.
And by the way, he and Nunes have seen all the intel. It's total bull. In fact, it's the opposite. The Trump's all being spied on, and the true story is, again, illegal spying. Oh, Scalia, before he died, came out and said, I'm being spied on by Obama, and they're blackmailing people, which we already knew.
Well, look, this is not surprising. They spied on James Rosen, the Fox reporter who covers the White House. They wiretapped him illegally. That is a much bigger crime than Watergate. How do journalists feel about the wiretapping of a journalist? It is incredible that we're looking at an FBI. There are people on this list who denied that the president was surveilled when we know now definitively that that is not the case.
And we knew from the very same New York Times reporters that said that didn't happen a month later, they reported it did. And then they say it's fake news. InfoWars says we had a cover that said wiretap, and we have the physical newspaper.
Yes,
we covered it, you and I, on the 20th. We covered it live in D.C. because you were in there.
Adding insult to injury, this morning, Congressman Eric Swalwell from California was on with Morning Joe. Now, Joe Scarborough may be upset with me because on this show, I revealed that he had a text relationship with Jared Kushner and that Kushner was lagging negative stories about Steve Bannon that that Scarborough was delightfully putting out. I have confirmed that on both ends of the transmission. So they put Swalwell on this morning to repeat yet again the lie that Roger Stone knew in advance about the release of information regarding Hillary Clinton. This is very much like this story, Alex. Yeah, I knew it. WikiLeaks posted it on their Twitter feed on July 31st.
It's the same crap. It's the same crap.
So, I am anxious to confront Mr. Swalwell. This guy is a mannequin he's a one-trick pony, and that trick seems to be lying about me over and over again. I'm still hopeful, Alex, that I will be allowed to testify.
Let me just raise this. How bombshell is it that you've got a respected former NYPD detective who's a investigator hired by the family? He says, yeah, I've talked to the police. They've been told to stand down. Yes, he was in contact with Assange. We have Assange basically in a bunch of clips saying, we never give up sources, but he probably could have been our source. We're just going to stop right there. Well, I think Assange needs to come out now for his safety, everybody's. It's not giving up a source if the person's been killed and shot in the back. I understand technically he can say we never give it up, but that becomes almost like Asperger's disorder or something, where someone just refuses to, go with the actual spirit of the law, the spirit of the agreement. I mean, if I was a source for a big story and then I get killed, please release that I was the source. Obviously, you are released from your agreement not to release a source if the source is a hero killed in the service to the Republic and not a Russian, you notice.
Well, and also, why has the New York Times never reported that the British diplomat Craig Murray has said repeatedly
that he's met with the U.S. intelligence agency leaker and that it is not a Russian?
And he also went so far as to imply that it was Seth Rich, who he met in a parking lot near American University.
Yes.
So we believe that some of these documents...
Seth Rich was a good Democrat that read all this evil about let's keep people poor, in the dark, let's have race war, let's steal more Haitian money. Hey, we got kids ready for you in the hot tub.
No, the most important thing Seth Rich knew was that they stopped the vote count in Iowa.
They stole it from Sanders.
If they had not stopped the vote count, Bernie Sanders would have won the Iowa caucuses and Hillary Clinton would have been toast as far as
they stopped. They said the vote the day before California didn't count and that donors had met with Hillary and they decided it was her.
So it is, this is a guy who acted on the basis of conscience, who saw the Democratic Party that he believed in being hijacked by the Clintons and Deborah Wasserman Schultz. Incidentally, a number of local Republicans in Fort Lauderdale are urging me to challenge Deborah Wasserman Schultz. I'm not really candidate material, but if it served the purpose of exposing her and her role in undermining the progressives in the party.
Yeah, if you were the weapon to just expose her and they get a patriot elected, that'd be great.
I would have to think about it. I'd have to think
or maybe just win for real, be the kamikaze.
Well, it's a terrible district. It was kind of custom drawn for her. She is a terror. She's a horrific person. I might just think about it.
All right, let's talk about what's coming up. A little bit in the next hour, then we're going to go tape a big special piece for the Nightly News this evening. We appreciate Roger being here. We're working so hard. We appreciate all you and your support. But let's go over some more of these clips. In fact, since we mentioned Assange, Julian Assange on Seth Rich, here's just one of the many places like Hannity, you name it, where he basically said, look, I don't want to say he's our source, but he very well could be the source. And the word is Seth Rich was the source, and now you have a detective saying that and people dying and the family that hired him now backing off. Because let me tell you, I've talked to people that met with the widow of folks that, Michael Hastings, people whose cars blow up as they drive down the road. And at first they're at the funeral saying, oh, yeah, they killed him. I'm going to go public, or, there was foul play. They're going to pay. And then she goes on Piers Morgan and says, oh, no, it was no big deal. Totally natural causes. And she was a top person as a support aide on the National Security Council. So from the intel we've got, she's a higher level spook. So was he. He found out stuff so bad he had a conscience. Michael Hastings, he went public, and then his car blew up and shot the engine 100 yards down the road, something that's impossible unless there's a bomb. And he called people that I know and said, I'm being chased. They're trying to kill me. It's Homeland Security. Obama has a special unit of hitmen, get the data out. But the data didn't get out. So that's what happens with these families. And I think that may have happened here. We'll get Roger's take on that. But here's Julian Assange.
In the American political lexicon, there's such a thing as the October surprise. The stuff that you're sitting on, is an October surprise in there? Do you even know what you're sitting on?
WikiLeaks never sits on material. Our whistleblowers go to significant efforts to get us material and often very significant risks. As a 27-year-old, works for the DNC, who was shot in the back, murdered just 2 weeks ago for unknown reasons as he was walking down the street in Washington. So
that was just a robbery, I believe, wasn't it?
no, there's no finding. So
What are you suggesting? What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that our sources take risks, and they become concerned to see things occurring like that.
But was he one of your sources then? I mean,
We don't comment on who our sources
but
are.
why make the suggestion about a young guy being shot in the streets of Washington?
Because we have to understand how high the stakes are in the United States, and that our sources are, our sources face serious risks. That's why they come to us, so we can protect their anonymity.
But it's quite something to suggest a murder. That's basically what you're doing.
Well, others have suggested that. We are investigating to understand what happened in that situation with Seth Rich. I think it is a concerning situation. There's not a conclusion yet. We wouldn't be willing to state a conclusion, but we are concerned about it. And more importantly, a variety of WikiLeaks sources are concerned when that kind of thing happens.
All right, and then we have Podesta emails in WikiLeaks where he says, I'd like to make an example of these leakers. It's on Paul Watson's article today on InfoWars. Whether they're guilty or not, I don't even care. Let's just start making examples now, and then you see what happens to Rich. But we always play that clip, and then that's okay. But I saw it on Hannity, or one of the clips where he said, I'm saying he could be our source. Assange said he could be our source.
He offered a $25,000 reward. Why would you offer a reward for someone who was not your source?
But now we have the detective saying the police said there's a cover-up.
The point is they're asking us to ignore logic. In other words, the guy who's the head of the department from whom the documents leak is murdered, and we're supposed to expect that there's nothing suspicious about that.
That's right. There's Podesta. I'm definitely for making an example of suspected leaker, whether or not we have any real basis for it. That's right. Just make an example, even if he's not the one.
What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com.